Welcome into the Chic and Ball podcast. I'm your host, Els the Truth, and over the next several weeks, we'll be taking you through each WNBA team from worst to first, and we also gonna highlight players that you can watch for next season. And to begin today's show, we're gonna talk about the worst team in the W, the Phoenix Mercury. Now, if you're a big-time W fan like me, then you remember the Phoenix Mercury in their glory days of Diana Taurasi, Penny Taylor, Dawanna Bonner, Cappie Pondexter when they was winning them rings. So it's pretty sad to kind of see them bottom out this year. They finished with a record of 9-31, worst team in the W. Head coach Vanessa Nygaard, who started the season for Phoenix, ended up being dismissed after 12 games after a 2-10 start. Just about a season and a half as their head coach, she finished with a 17-31 record. Nikki Blue took over after her dismissal, but still not much positive to speak of about the team after that. A lot of controversy with the team surrounding Britney Griner's return, Skylar Diggins not being able to be with the team or practice in the team facilities, Dawanna Taurasi coming back playing at age 41, not to mention all the chatter and whispers about how people didn't like the head coach, which apparently was true because of her early dismissal. But first, let's talk about the controversy surrounding Britney Griner. As we know, she was detained in Russia for 9 months after being convicted on drug charges. And of course, she wanted to continue her WNBA career, and she actually played on opening night, playing very well, putting up 18 points. She started in 31 games and finished with 7 double-doubles. But there were also idiot fans heckling her as she went to and from the team playing. Eventually, they were able to fix that and get her some private flying so she didn't have to deal with that. It seemed like the team was more focused on protecting her than winning basketball games, which is not her fault and it's not her teammates' fault. The team overall should have been more prepared because they should have known what was coming and they should have been able to protect her so they can focus more on basketball. But now let's talk about the controversy surrounding Skylar Diggins. As we all know, Skylar Diggins-Smith didn't play a game in the 2023 season. She was out on maternity leave. Now, with her contract being suspended, she stated that the team would not allow her to use the practice facility or any resources. That includes the massage therapist, chiropractor, chef, strength and conditioning, nutritionist, you name it, she was not able to use it. So not only was the team fielding questions about Britney Griner, they were also fielding questions about Skylar Diggins and not talking much about basketball. They finished as the worst defensive team in the league, giving up on average 85 points per game. I think we can all agree that it might be time for a youth movement in Phoenix. No idea who Phoenix gonna bring back because they have a lot of players under contract, but let's hope they get some youth in the draft. Hey, but if you look close enough, you might find a bright spot in every dark corner. And I'm gonna give you our highlight player for the Phoenix Mercury this 2023 season, Sophie Cunningham.
Let's go 3 minutes shooting. 3 minutes shooting. 3 minutes shooting. 2 lines. A line over here, a line over there. 10, 11, 12.
Here we go.
Gotta move the ball, gotta move the ball.
I see you. Yep, I got you.
Bring it across, bring it across.
I'm here. 2-9, 2-9, 2-9. Yeah. I'm here.
Got ball, pick up the ball.
She's a sharpshooting fire starter out of Missouri. Ever since she got the full-time starting role last season, she's been cooking them folks from 3, averaging 2 threes per game. Also averaging about 3 fouls per game, so a real enforcer on the defensive end. Look out for her in the next few years to compete for an all-star spot. All right, but let's keep it moving. Next team we're going to talk about finished second worst as far as win percentage, and that will be the Seattle Storm. All right, and to be all the way real about this team, they just had no offense. It was the Jewel Loyd show, Jewel Loyd or bust. This year, she averaged basically 25 points, and that was 11 more than any other teammate. Ezi Magbegor, who averaged 14 points this season and also made the All-Star team, her and Jewel Loyd were the only 2 players to average more than 10 points this season. And no, we're not giving no team no pass, but when you think about it, they did lose a lot of players from last season. They no longer have Sue Bird, they no longer have Breanna Stewart, no Tina Charles. Gabby Williams didn't play much this season due to injury. So missing all that production, it was kind of apparent that they would take a bit of a step back. And we all know the name of the game is rebounding and getting stops, but this team, the Seattle Storm, gave up on average 8 offensive rebounds per game and allowed teams to shoot 49% inside their 3-point line. But honestly, they got 4 championships as a franchise. They always been good at finding players in the draft. They already have Gabby Williams, Jewel Loyd, and Ezi to build for the future. So I'd say give them a couple years and they should be right back in the playoffs. Bright spot for the Seattle Storm, I would have to say, is young head coach Noell Quinn. She was also a former WNBA player, last played in 2018, and she took over this team coaching in 2021. So give her a few more years under her belt and she should be able to steer this thing back on the right track. She also played 5 seasons as a player in Seattle, so she understands what the fans want. She understands what needs to be done. She saw the team win championships. Not a lot, but it was a little controversy surrounding the team. Not knowing where the points was going to come from, Loyd being frustrated with that. Losing a lot of players, and a lot of players being in and out of the lineup. There was no real starting five that they can use every game. I think the team could use more size, and I think that's what they'll go after this offseason. And before we move on from Seattle, one thing we're going to always do is highlight a player from each team, whether they're young and spry or old and retired. And today for the Seattle Storm, I want to highlight Lauren Jackson. She was one of my favorite players to watch growing up. She actually started the dynasty in Seattle with Sue Bird. Unfortunately, her career was cut short by injuries, but before she was injured, it was a constant battle between her and Lisa Leslie for who was the best player, who was going to win MVP. She's actually finished a 3-time MVP. She's a Hall of Famer, 7-time All-Star, 2-time WNBA champion. In 2010, she won MVP and led the team to their second championship. Now, this one is a remarkable story. As we know, Lauren Jackson played her last WNBA game in 2012. Now, shockingly, she resumed her career at the age of 40 in the WNBL. And last year, in 2022-23, when she played, she averaged 13 points at the age of 40. She's already agreed to play for another season, and she's already started playing in those games this year. That being said, congratulations to Lauren Jackson. We all want to see you back on the court. We sad it's not in the W, but as long as you're back on the court, doing what you love to do and having fun, that's what we want to see. All right, but let's briefly transition away from the WNBA, and now we want to talk about a couple of college basketball players that you should be looking out for next season. First player we're going to discuss, California's own JuJu Watkins. She's a 5-star recruit, already a social media sensation. In her junior year at Sierra Canyon, she led the team to a 30-2 record, averaging 25-10. In her senior season, on senior night, she scored a career-high 60 points. She also led her team to a 31-1 record that year while averaging 27-14. All right, but let's talk about some awards and accolades that JuJu's been able to get as an amateur. She is a 2-time gold medalist. First one, FIBA Under-16 America's Championship, where she won MVP. The second one, FIBA Under-17 World Cup, where she also won MVP. 2-time California Miss Basketball, McDonald All-American Game MVP, Naismith Prep Player of the Year, and Gatorade National Player of the Year. If you didn't know, she signed with Clutch Sports, ran by Rich Paul and LeBron James. And she signed an NIL deal with Nike before even taking a jumper in the NCAA. On November 15, 2022, she committed to play for the USC Trojans, and we all waited with bated breath to see how she stepped out there on her first game. And another player that we can't wait, or I personally can't wait to see play this upcoming season, freshman out of Pennsylvania, she'll be lacing them up for the North Carolina Tar Heels, Ciera Toomey. She's not a social media icon, but she is a 6'4", stretch 5. She's been compared to Breanna Stewart. As an amateur, she's led her high school to a record of 88-5 from freshman to senior year. In her junior year, she averaged 18-7 and shot 67% from the field and was named Pennsylvania Player of the Year. Unfortunately, she tore her ACL and had to miss some time, but she came back just in enough time to lead Dunbar High School to its first championship in 2023. Another good thing about Ciera is she's been coached by her mom in high school and, of course, growing up. So you know she'll understand coaching, she'll get what it takes to get to the next level, and I would say in the next few years, look for her to be a top pick in the WNBA draft. And she's going to be draped in that North Carolina blue, looking as good as she want to look. She's ranked number 4 among incoming freshmen. She's a double-double threat every night, and I'm expecting that every night from her on the Tar Heels. God willing she stays healthy, there's no reason the Tar Heels shouldn't be in the Sweet 16 or further within the next couple years. And don't forget, you heard about her here first, because that girl can ball. We got so much more stored up in the bag, a lot more teams to talk about, a lot more players to spotlight. But this being the first episode, we're going to end it right here. But we appreciate you guys for listening and watching. Share the video with your friends. Comment what you liked and what you didn't like. I'm your host, Els the Truth. And this ain't just talk, this real talk. See you on the next one.